Welcome to my channel Sci-Fi Love Story. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe. The alarm screamed through Jonah Rook's cabin at exactly 0312 station time. Jonah did not wake up right away. He lay there for a full 3 seconds, staring at the ceiling, trying to remember what kind of life decision had led him to accept a salvage engineering contract on Kestrel Outpost, a station so far from civilized space that even the stars looked tired. Then the alarm screamed again, louder. Jonah groaned, rolled out of his bunk and slammed a hand onto the console. All right, I'm awake. You don't have to sound like you're dying." The alarm cut off, replaced by the calm, emotionless voice of the station AI. "Unscheduled atmospheric breach detected. External impact confirmed." Jonah froze halfway into his boots. "Impact," he muttered. "We don't get impacts." Kestrel Outpost sat in empty space above a dead rock of a moon. No trade routes, no tourist lanes, no reason for anyone to be here unless something had already gone wrong in their life. The AI continued. "Crash trajectory suggests non-human vessel, origin unknown." Jonah straightened slowly. That was new. He pulled on his jacket, grabbed his helmet, and jogged out into the corridor. Emergency lights painted the metal walls in dull red. Other crew members were stepping out of their quarters, half awake, confused, and already irritated. "What's going on?" someone shouted. Jonah didn't stop. He already knew where he was going. The external observation bay. By the time he reached it, the blast shutters were sliding open. The reinforced glass revealed a view of the moon's surface below. Something was burning. A long black scar cut across the gray dust, ending in a twisted wreck half buried in stone. Smoke and strange blue fire leaked from broken seams. The shape of the craft was wrong, too smooth in some places, too sharp in others. Not human, not even close. Jonah felt a cold knot form in his stomach. "Station Command," the AI said, "has issued a priority directive." A message flashed across the screen. "Do not approach the crash site. No recovery, OPRTIONS authorized. Await corporate response." Jonah stared at the words. Corporate response. That meant hours, maybe days. He zoomed in on the wreck. Thermal readings spiked and dipped wildly. Hull integrity was failing, and buried deep inside the broken ship. Life signs. "Damn it," Jonah whispered. He turned and sprinted for the hangar. The salvage crawler roared as it broke atmosphere, kicking up dust as it skimmed low over the moon's surface. Jonah gripped the controls, eyes fixed on the burning wreck ahead. "AI," he said, breath tight. "What are the chances Command notices this launch?" A pause. 87%. Jonah snorted, lower than I expected. He pushed the engines harder. The crawler slammed down near the crash site, its landing struts barely stable on fractured rock. Heat rolled off the wreckage in waves. Jonah sealed his helmet and jumped down, boots crunching on hot stone. Up close, the ship was worse. The hull had peeled open like torn skin. Strange symbols flickered weakly along exposed panels, dimming as power failed. Jonah's scanner screamed warnings: radiation, unknown particles, unstable energy fields. And inside, movement. Jonah climbed over twisted metal, heart pounding. He dropped into the wreck through a jagged opening, landing hard inside a tilted corridor filled with smoke. "Hello," he called, voice echoing uselessly. "Anyone alive in here?" A sound answered him. Not a word, not a scream. Breathing. Ragged, painful. Jonah followed the sound, stepping carefully until he found them. The survivor was pinned beneath a collapsed section of the ship, tall, slender, not human. Their skin shimmered faintly, patterns of soft light pulsing weakly beneath the surface. Limbs bent at angles Jonah's brain did not like, Dark fluid, blood, maybe streaked the floor. The being turned their head slightly. Large eyes opened, reflecting Jonah's helmet light. Fear. Pure, unmistakable fear. "Hey," Jonah said, automatically dropping into the same tone he used with injured crew. Calm, steady, human. "Okay, I see you, I'm here." The alien made a faint sound. Not a word, more like a vibration. Jonah scanned them quickly. Internal injuries, severe trauma, shock. "Bad, very bad." "Right," Jonah muttered. "Let's not die today, that'd be great." He activated his med kit, injecting stabilizers designed for human biology, adjusted carefully for unknown physiology. The alien flinched, light patterns flaring erratically. "I know," Jonah said softly. "Feels bad, I'm sorry. This is the best I've got." The ship creaked around them. Structural collapse imminent. Jonah looked at the debris pinning the survivor. Too heavy to lift normally. "Okay," he said, voice tight. "New plan." He grabbed his cutting torch and went to work, sparks flying as he carved through alien alloy. The metal resisted, screamed, then gave way. Jonah worked fast, sweating, heart hammering as the wreck groaned in protest. Finally, the pressure eased. The alien slumped forward. Jonah caught them. They were lighter than expected, fragile. "Got you," he said, surprising himself with how fierce the words felt. The wreck shuddered violently. "Time to go." Jonah shifted, securing the alien against his chest, then lifted them fully, settling their weight across his shoulders in a rough carry. The alien's arms tightened weakly around his neck. "Trust." That hit Jonah harder than fear. "Yeah," he breathed, "I don't love this either." He ran. The storm hit halfway back. Dust and charged particles whipped across the surface, visibility dropping to almost nothing. Jonah staggered, legs burning, suit alarms screaming. The alien clung to him, breathing shallow against his shoulder. "Hey," Jonah panted, forcing words out between steps. "Stay with me, okay? You let go, I'm charging you for emotional damage." A faint vibration brushed his neck. Jonah grinned despite everything. "I'll take that as agreement." Every step hurt. The weight pressed into his spine, his lungs burned, his vision narrowed. He kept going. Because that's what humans did. The outpost finally appeared through the storm lights, rising like a promise Jonah refused to let go of. Security teams rushed forward as Jonah stumbled into the airlock. "What the hell is that?" someone shouted. "Doesn't matter," Jonah snapped. "They're hurt, get a medbay ready now." "They're not human," a guard said, backing away. "Command said." Jonah turned, eyes blazing behind his visor. "Command isn't here," he said. "I am." Silence. Then the med doors slid open. Jonah carried the alien inside and laid them gently on the table. Medical scanners whirred, struggling to interpret biology they weren't designed for. Jonah stayed. He ignored the whispers, the fear, the orders flashing across screens. The alien's hand found his wrist. Weak, trembling. Jonah wrapped his fingers around it. "You're safe," he said quietly. "No one's throwing you anywhere." The alien's light patterns calmed, just a little. Minutes passed, then hours. Jonah slumped in a chair beside the bed, exhaustion crashing over him. His suit lay discarded at his feet, torn and dust-stained. The alien slept. Alive. Jonah let out a breath he didn't realize he'd been holding. Then the station shook. Hard. Alarm screamed again, this time deeper, angrier. The AI's voice returned, stripped of neutrality. Multiple warp signatures detected. Jonah looked up slowly. "How many?" he asked. A pause. "Too many." The main screen flickered to life. Space tour opened beyond the moon. Ships emerged, massive, angular, bristling with weapons that made human cruisers look like toys. Jonah recognized the symbols immediately. Imperial, ancient, feared, a fleet that erased worlds when diplomacy failed. The alien stirred. Their eyes opened fully now, sharp and aware despite the pain, their gaze fixed on the screen. Recognition, regret, fear, no, not for themselves. For Jonah. The station commander whispered from behind him, voice shaking. "Oh no." Jonah stood slowly. "What?" he asked. The commander swallowed. "That ship you carried in." The alien's light patterns flared brightly for the first time. "Belongs to someone the galaxy cannot afford to lose." The fleet-powered weapons. Ancestral outpost suddenly felt very, very small. The fleet did not fire right away. That was the first thing Jonah Rook noticed. The massive Imperial warships hung in space above Kestrel Outpost, dark and silent, their hulls carved with symbols older than human history. Their weapons ports glowed faintly, charged but waiting. Waiting was worse. Jonah stood beside the mid-bay bed, one hand resting on the railing. The alien survivor lay still now, eyes open, watching the ceiling with an awareness that had not been there before. They were fully awake. "You know them," Jonah said quietly, not taking his eyes off the ships on the main screen. The alien turned their head slightly. Their glowing patterns dimmed, then pulsed again in slow rhythm. "Yes," a soft voice said. Jonah froze. The translator implant in his ear activated automatically, struggling for a second before stabilizing. "Yes," the alien repeated, "they are here for me." Around them, the station command center erupted into noise. "They're demanding immediate surrender of the asset," an officer shouted. "No negotiation window." "They're locking weapons." Jonah ignored all of it. "What's your name?" he asked. The alien looked at him, really looked at him. "My name," they said slowly, "is Era." Jonah nodded. "All right, Era, I'm Jonah." Era's eyes softened. "I know," they said. That made Jonah uneasy. The Imperial message came moments later, transmitted on every channel at once. The voice was deep, mechanical, layered with authority that expected obedience as a law of nature. "Human Station Kestrel Outpost. You are in possession of Imperial property. Transfer subject Era immediately. Resistance will result in total erasure." The word property hit Jonah like a slap. The station commander turned to Jonah, pale and sweating. "We can't fight them. We don't even slow them down." Jonah nodded. "I know." "Then we hand her over." Jonah shook his head. "No," he said. The commander stared at him. "Excuse me." Jonah turned fully now, anger sharp and clear. "You heard me. That being is the reason they're here." "No," Jonah said calmly. "They're here because they think they own her." The commander lowered his voice. "You don't understand what you're doing." Jonah looked back at Era. "I understand exactly what I'm doing." Era sat up slowly, medical monitors flaring as they adjusted. Jonah moved instinctively, steadying them. "You should not do this," Era said. "They will destroy you." Jonah shrugged. "Yeah, that tracks." Era studied him, confusion clear in their expression. "Why?" Jonah thought about the wreckage, the storm, the weight on his back, the way her arms had tightened around him when everything was falling apart. "Because you're not cargo," he said, "and because nobody gets to decide your life without asking you first." Era's light patterns shimmered in a way Jonah had learned meant emotion. "You are an unusual species," she said. "We get that a lot." The Imperial fleet did not wait long. Weapon locks snapped into place. Power readings spiked off the charts. The commander slammed a fist onto the console. "They're going to fire." Jonah stepped forward. Open a channel, he said. The commander stared. Are you insane? Probably, Jonah replied, but open it. Against all reason, the commander did. The Imperial face filled the main screen, tall, armored, eyes cold and ancient. You will surrender the asset. Jonah leaned into the camera. No, he said. A ripple of surprise passed through the bridge. The Imperial commander's eyes narrowed. Human, you are insignificant. This matter does not concern you. Jonah smiled. That's where you're wrong. Jonah tapped his wrist console. Across the station, independent comm relays activated. Old salvage broadcasts, civilian channels, emergency beacons. Everything Kestrel Outpost had. The feed went public. Every word, every threat. You showed up with extinction-level weapons, Jonah said, voice steady, and demanded a living person like she was a broken machine. The Imperial commander sneered. She is not a person, she is a key. A murmur spread through the station. Jonah raised an eyebrow. A key to what? Era closed her eyes. To ancient systems, she said softly. Defensive systems, older than your empires, older than mine. The Imperial commander snapped. Silence. Jonah's smile vanished. See, Jonah said, that's the part humans don't like. The feed exploded across the network. Civilian channels, merchant hubs, independent systems that hated the Empire but feared it too much to speak. Now they were watching. You want her because she controls something you can't, Jonah continued, and you don't care if she lives through it. Era looked at him sharply. Jonah. Not done, he said gently. He faced the screen again. You think we're weak, Jonah said. And yeah, compared to you, we are, but here's the thing. He took a breath. We don't like bullies. The Imperial commander's voice dropped to a lethal whisper. Last warning. Jonah spread his hands. No. The first shot never came. Instead, space rippled. Era cried out softly, gripping Jonah's arm. I am sorry, she said. Then the light patterns across her skin flared brighter than Jonah had ever seen. Energy surged through the station. Not destructive, not violent. Ancient. The Imperial ships froze. Their weapon glows died instantly. Power fields collapsed. Entire vessels drifted, suddenly blind and silent. The bridge went dead quiet. What did you do? Jonah whispered. Era breathed heavily. I did not attack them. She met his eyes. I stopped them from attacking anyone. Across the public feed, analysts screamed. Empires panicked. Smaller worlds watched in stunned silence. The Imperial fleet, unstoppable for centuries, hung powerless. The Imperial commander's image flickered. Fear showed now. This was not your decision to make. Era straightened, pain clear but will unbroken. It was always my decision, she said. The Empire withdrew an hour later. Not because they were defeated. Because the galaxy had seen them. Their threat, their fear, their reliance on control. And because humans, small, fragile humans, had stood in the way. Kestrel Outpost survived. Barely. Days passed. Repairs began, messages flooded in, offers, threats, praise. Jonah ignored all of it. He sat in the medbay one last time as Era prepared to leave. A sleek, unfamiliar ship waited beyond the airlock, ancient, quiet, powerful. You could come with me, Era said. Jonah smiled sadly. I don't think I'd survive the paperwork. She laughed, a soft, unfamiliar sound that still felt right. You carried me when you did not know who I was, she said. You gave me something my kind forgot long ago. What's that? Choice. They stood there for a long moment. Will they come back? Jonah asked. Not soon, Era said. You scared them. Jonah blinked. We did. You reminded them, she said. That power does not belong to those who demand it, but to those who refuse to abandon others. She stepped forward and placed a hand over his heart. You matter, Jonah Rook. Your species matters, not because you are strong, but because you carry others when it costs you everything. Jonah swallowed. Take care of yourself, he said. Era nodded. You already taught me how. She boarded the ship. It vanished without a sound. Life returned to normal. Mostly. Jonah went back to salvage work, broken ships, forgotten places, people who needed help. The galaxy changed quietly around him. Humans were still not the strongest. But now when disaster struck, someone always asked, "Where are the humans?" Because humans carried others when no one else would. And sometimes that was enough to change everything. The end.